We do hope you enjoy it. Juliana, it's with you.
Thank you so much, Penelope. It's a pleasure being here tonight in our first San Nicolas talk, talking about such a special subject for us in early childhood education, early literacy, right? And today, so what is gonna be the process of the e-talk today? First, we are gonna share our vision for reading and literacy at San Nicolas School, how we nurture and grow lifelong readers. Then we are going to talk about our early literacy program at San Nicolas. We are going to explain to you how we move to remote learning. And we are going to hope that this talk can strengthen our partnership with the families. We hope you enjoy it, right? And we invited Ms. Correia, Maria Marta, to talk to us today. And Maria Marta is our personalized learning specialist in early year, our literacy specialist. She's in early years and lower primary, sorry, Maria Marta. And she supports the children, she supports the teachers, designing the learning experiences for the classrooms and for the kids. And together with our school librarian, Ms. Vicky, she creates good literature books for us, right? Thank you so much. And when thinking about Maria Marta and literacy in early years, one image comes to my mind, the PL room in the early years building. If you haven't been there yet, on the upper floor, there are some special materials there that Maria Marta takes so much good care of. So thank you, Maria Marta. And please tell us, what are these good special materials that you have in the room?
Hi, Ju. Good evening, everyone. It's such a special moment to be here talking about literacy with all of you. Yeah, I miss my room, you know, because my room is full of books. You will see big books hanging on a special place. You will see literature, good literature books, books for reading levels, non-fiction books, all sorts of genres. And yeah, lots of baskets with different authors. I miss them, yeah.
Yeah, and as a team, we watch you holding those books all around school as if they were a living thing, basically. They are a living thing for you, right? And we can feel that passion that you have for literacy. And tell us, where did this passion come from?
I think it's really nice to tell you this little story because I was doing my postgraduate studies, and then I got the chance to complete it in New York, going to Columbia University and attending the summer course offered by the Teachers College. And it was such a meaningful and relevant experience to me that when I think of our mission, our new mission at St. Nicholas, igniting a passion for learning from our hearts to others for the world, I think this is the perfect example because it ignited such a great passion deep in my heart that being able to be here tonight to talk about it, it's something immense for me. So I think my great inspiration, my mentor book is I Am Reading by Kathy Collins. She was my mentor when I was in the US, and this is what we've been trying to do in the early years at St. Nicholas School.
Yes, and I have to say that you do spark your passion for all of us at school. It's not a coincidence that this is also my mentor book. This is the mentor book we use with the teachers during our collaborative planning sessions. This is one of our mentor books, our reference books as educators. And the title is so powerful. First of all, I'd like to say that this book, when you read it, it flows so smoothly. It's like, it is an interesting book for those parents who would love to learn more about early literacy. We have to say, if you need the title later, we can give you, that's okay. And the title is appalling to us. And the book cover is appalling to us. when we read the whole book cover with the picture of the child and the statement, I am reading, it's very powerful to us. And that brings us to our first question tonight. So what is reading for St. Nicholas?
Ju, let's think about a 2-3-year-old child looking at her parents' face, and she's looking at them and thinking, are they happy with me? Are they mad at me? Are they sad? Is she reading? What if they take her to a new place and she looks around and she thinks, is this a safe place? Do I want to be here? Is it scary? Should I run away? Is she reading the environment? When we see a child with a book, looking at the illustrations, it's a book with words, it's a good literature book, and she's all of a sudden giggling or amazed, and she goes like, oh my gosh, let's say she has a nonfiction book and she's looking at the photo of a jaguar stalking a zebra or a gazelle, and she thinks, oh my gosh, is he going to attack the gazelle? Is she reading? What do these 3 examples have in common? What they have in common is the act of making meaning of what they're seeing. So reading for us, we understand as an act of making meaning, of understanding things. Because if you're just looking, if you think of in the past, people would say reading is reading words. The moment you can read words, you're reading. Is it true? Is it just reading the words? What if a child read the words really well, and then you ask, okay, what was the book about? And then the child cannot answer that question. Was she reading or was she calling out words? So for us, it's very clear, and I really want this to be, it's a paramount understanding that reading is making meaning, is understanding what we're looking at. So that's what that's our vision.
That's a great perspective that really amplifies what we can do with the kids to nurture them as lifelong readers. So can you give us some more details on how we can nurture those lifelong readers who can read their own?
When the children are with us, we try to make them fall in love with books. Because the moment they fall in love with books, this is going to be a good thing to do. It's a memory that will, because humans are pleasure-centered, you know, and they will go back to experiences that they have that brings them good memories. So if a child is with a book and she's enjoying that moment, or she's together with her parents and they are reading aloud the story, and it's that moment that they are bonding or they're talking and she's curious about what they're saying, this is what it means to help them become lifelong readers. And what does it look like? It looks, a child, an avid reader is a child that will carry books or reading devices nowadays, right? To whenever they go. Or they go to the library and they talk to the librarian and they ask for, they go there to check out new titles that have arrived, or a new Eric Carle's book. Or it's the kind of child that will talk to her friend and say, hey, have you checked the last Harry Potter's book? Did you read it? What, you know, they start conversations about books. These are lifelong, this is what lifelong readers look like. And I think this is what we try really carefully to promote.
That's awesome. And let's be more specific now. So tell us, how do we develop the early literacy program at school to nurture those lifelong readers? I'm going to get a couple of books because I need to hold books to visualize this in practice with the kids. So can you please explain to us how the program is designed?
We follow the balanced literacy framework. And this is a very interesting framework because it provides different moments, different types of activities related to reading and writing. So in a day or throughout the week, the child will be exposed to read aloud moments, will be exposed to, in a circle, listening to a story, will be exposed to read aloud with an accountable talk, which in Portuguese we would say mediação de leitura. The child is exposed to, is encouraged to go to the bookshelf and choose a book to read independently. The child will be invited to share a book with her partner, with a friend, so they can read together and they can talk about the book. And the moment they are talking about the book, they are thinking. So we use the balanced literacy approach because we want to provide different moments for that child to fall in love with books and to develop this. Because when we think of reading, Ju, we have to bear in mind two very important concepts. We are talking about engagement and enjoyment. So you see that the child is engaged when she's curious, when she's trying to understand what she's looking at, or when she's just having so much fun because it's a beloved book and she loves to look at that book over and over again many times and share with her friend. So the program we have, and then we have word study or phonics time. That is towards K1, K2 years, when they look specifically at the sound and the correspondence between grapheme and phoneme. But we develop sound awareness from the beginning, from Tiny Tots 1, when they're singing, when they're listening to sounds around them, because later on they will be able to listen to the B for ball, right? And they will be introduced to that idea that the letter has a shape, has a name. So this is pretty much an overview of our literacy program.
And you know what you made me think? How powerful it is when a child holds a book like that. This is one of my favorite beloved books. This is one that I even recorded a video for children to watch at home. And the feeling that we have that's really powerful, and it's there in this book I am reading, is that the children, before they reach K1 and while they reach K1 and KG2 phase, where they will be introduced to the sounds, they already open many books they love and they feel I am reading.
Yes.
When they turn the pages, they feel I am reading this book. I know this story. My teachers and my parents have read this story so many times to me. I'm totally confident that I can read. Because then when they move to the abstract phase of figuring out the sounds on the pages and the words on the pages, they have the repertoire to rely on. They have context to embed those words in a story, right? And that's how we design our program at school. And then we had to move to remote learning from one day to another and figure out how to make this happen during this unique phase we are all living in. And then we decided to have, to keep in every daily plan a read aloud. So in early years, there is a read aloud session. In K2, there are many read aloud experiences throughout the week. And the teachers are recording lots of storytellings. And then we decided to share all those videos made by us with the good literature books that we most love and we want to make sure that the kids have access to. We added them to the distance learning website so that all parents can have easy access to. We opened an optional library time with Ms. Vicky, a very special moment where Ms. Vicky can pick and choose the best books on Epic and tell her stories with the kids. Talking about Epic, we created this virtual library. You can talk to us a little bit about that, please, as well. Yeah, so that's how we decided to provide this continuity of reading good literature exposure for the kids so that they could continue being nurtured as lifelong readers, right?
Yeah, and not to mention that we also have the writing moment and also building identity. So when you, going back a little bit to the beginning of your talk, when you said a child get a book and she has the feeling that I'm reading, it's because her identity as a reader is there. And this is something that it's important to keep going on during this remote learning time, because I think the moment with Miss Vicky, I'm so glad you brought her, you mentioned her, because she's doing an amazing job. And I think this was part of the children's routine, going to the library to listen to Miss Vicky reading them a story. And she would do a lot of not just read aloud, but read aloud with accountable talk. So she would be using reading skills such as prediction and inferring in such a way that she's still doing by remote learning. So if it's feasible in your timetable to allow your child to go to Miss Vicky's sessions, please do it, because it's a really rich opportunity. Epic. I'm in love with Epic because you can simply look to so many books, different genres. You will find amazing, good literature books. You can find the Just Right book, which is the one that your child is able to read and decode, really. And there is also the chance to click on the Read to Me option. So your child can it's a read aloud as well. So we've got different opportunities for reading, for enjoyment, for growing reading muscles when we choose the Just Right book, and being exposed to a variety of genres. So it's a good thing to do.
And talking about libraries, our librarian, virtual libraries, what about the home libraries? I have some of my books here. I'm sure many of the children at home have loads of books. So how can parents use their own child's library during this moment for enjoyment, for engagement, for nurturing lifelong readers?
Revisiting, talking about their beloved and favorite books. This is a great opportunity to talk about, to have conversations about what are their favorite books, which ones they want to read over and over again, which ones they want to revisit. I think that's great that you mentioned private libraries.
But let's suppose, Maria Marta, that a child loves The Very Busy Spider as much as I do, and wants to read The Very Busy Spider every single day, all the time. What does that mean for that reader?
For that reader, I think it means a safe place to be as a reader. I think it's a good opportunity to learn the author words, and the moment she's reading The Very Busy Spider independently, it's a great opportunity to see if that child is using an approximation reading, which means, is the child really reading the words, or does she know it by heart, that when you listen to her, you feel like, oh my gosh, she's reading the words, but it's because she knows the story by heart. Like Brown Bear, what do you see? You get a 5-6-year-old child reading Brown Bear, you will tell she's reading the words, but it's approximation, and that's a super important stage of reading development.
Yes, that's a good point. And but at the same time, we know that we need to offer access to a variety of stories. So some kids will be okay. The more, the merrier. You can show different books and they are okay with that. Some kids will stick to the same books, and that's also very important, as you've just mentioned. But we as educators, and also I would say parents, we are cautious that we need to offer a variety of stories.
For sure.
And,
Yes.
And then, can you tell us a little bit about
I think it's part of the dialogue. You're going to have conversations with your child, and you will show her that you also have beloved books. So how about me reading this story to you tonight, and you reading your favorite story to me? What other stories do we have here? I think there's room for conversation, for negotiating, and showing your child that there isn't a world of books out there. She could be encouraged to visit, to get to know.
And then with this rich exposure, children will acquire the language of books, the language of stories. And that made me think about this moment now, how families could tell other types of stories to kids as well. Not only the stories on books, but that made me think about my childhood when I would sit with my family and they would open the photo albums.
That's beautiful.
With me, our family stories.
Yeah, what about recipe books as well? Cooking time, having that time together. Yeah, so many different experiences. Can I share something really quickly? During this pandemic, my 5-year-old child said, "Mom, I want to go out." I said, no, but I want to go out. You can't go out. And then she turned to me and said, "But I have dreams, you know." And then I looked at her. And I thought, oh my gosh, she loves Mo Williams' book, Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus. And she just remembered that she could use, but I have dreams, you know, because this is a dramatic moment of the story, that the pigeon is really trying to convince us to let him drive the bus. So these are just examples of how rich reading fills children's life.
Yeah. And the last question, Ms. Cardoso is coming back. Is there still time for final question?
Yes, we have a minute for the final question. Go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. Some parents have expressed their concern about a possible gap on their children's literacy skills during this unique moment. What would you say? Do you believe it's possible this is the case?
I think it's a very, very, very important question. We have to remember that the acquisition of the written language is a process, the same way as the spoken language was a process. So if we remember that when our child said her first word, and we went, oh my gosh, she said her first word, it's Papa, now it's Mama, come and listen again. And we gave such a positive feedback to the child, and then the child started developing her spoken language and everything, always getting a positive feedback. I think we have to keep that in mind. It is a process, and we should nurture and keep that excitement and positive feedback whenever the child is trying to read or write, but that doesn't feel so right. I think I don't see it as a gap, because I still believe that if a child has a book and she's reading it, she's inquiring about that language, she's inquiring about that picture and the words she's looking at, and then she recognizes some tricky words. Oh, I know this one, this is I remember Miss taught me. And then she looks at the letters and she starts to make sense of them. I feel that we've been trying to we continued to teach them how to tackle the code through word study sessions and phonics. And I think it's an ongoing process. So I believe the more they are exposed to books, EPIC again is a good opportunity for them to follow what they are reading together with what they're listening. But I think, yeah, we should remember not to make it a stressful moment, because we don't want to withdraw them from this experience. So we should try to keep it positive and encouraging them.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Maria Marta. Thank you, Juliana. I believe what you're saying as well about the literacy process, you know, and in relation to a possible gap, we should be seeing literacy as a long-term process, right? As you said. It's not something that happens like in 6 months. It will take years for the child to begin this process, mature their skills on it, like master their skills on it, and then they will be like readers. But yes, we're trying here is to develop the passion for reading, right?
Yeah, but I don't want to forget to mention that I've made videos of a series of strategies that you could use with your child if you feel like you can do it, if you feel it's feasible within your timetable, in your routine. So it's also available for you to look at.
Actually, you know what we could do, Maria Marta? We could upload those videos to our distance learning website under resources for early years and K2, like reading strategies, and then parents can have access to them if they wish to. We can do that tomorrow.
Wonderful, great.
It's a good option. Can I tell you, we've got a question actually, a couple of questions about the language. What would be the best language to start this process or to motivate your child? Is there a right language for that? Should it be in Portuguese? Should it be in English? Does it make a difference? Does it have any effect if a mother, for instance, is trying to motivate her child with her mother tongue, which is Portuguese? So what do you think? What do you tell me about that, Maria Marta?
I'm super pro literacy in any language. I don't believe language is an issue. I think it's the experience itself that's more important. Reading with your child, it's a moment to bond. If you feel comfortable reading in Portuguese, because Portuguese is your mother tongue, that's the language you will use for sure. If you feel confident reading some stories in English as well, why not? But it's the experience more than the language itself that matters more.
Awesome. And what would you say about the writing? You know, what about writing? How do we engage children? How do we motivate them at home now at this time? And what do we believe about writing? So can you quickly say something about that?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. I'm in love with writing. I think I go back to the example of spoken language. When the child said, "Mama," but she meant, "I want some apple." You know, that's what's gonna happen when the child starts writing. She won't start writing caterpillar with all the letters and the perfect spelling. But just the fact that she's making an effort, maybe to be just scribble ribbles, maybe she's going to use just the letters of her name that has nothing to do with caterpillar, but just the motivation, the willingness to write something because she wants to put on her wall, "This is my bedroom." You know, this should be encouraged always. I think you have to know your child, know what he likes, know what she likes. If it's a clubinho secreto, make a clubinho secreto in your house and make posters around it. If she likes to retell stories, let's make books. In kindergarten 1, we are making books because making books, it's appropriate to their age. Stapling paper and gluing paper together and creating a few pages for them to draw and write. This is exciting, and I think, or not, or if your child really loves nonfiction books, he likes to look at books about animals with real photos. Let's use technology. Let's make, I don't know, we've got to be a bit creative, but I think we can ask the child, what would you like to write about? would you like to make a poster? Would you like to send a message to grandpa? Would you like to make a card? Yeah, these are some of the ideas that occurred to me.
And again, just like we mentioned with reading, when the child feels I am writing, before they can really use the standard codes, that's when we got it. You know, I am a reader, I am a lifelong reader, I am a writer, right?
Absolutely. It's the motivation. It's the good memory of doing something that they feel confident, they like it.
Yeah, I think that's the word, Maria Marta, the confidence. That's what we want the children to have, right? The confidence to be a writer, to be a reader. Great. Well, I can only say a super thank you to both of you for the lovely talk. I hope the parents enjoyed it. You know, our colleagues who are also watching us now, thank you very much for that. And for us to finish this conversation, would you have any other tip, like any final recommendation for parents that they could be doing now? What do you think?
You know, I think they should be reading, if possible, books with strong, compelling messages. So I think this one is my top 5 favorite books. Guess How Much I Love You. I have this version in Portuguese. Ms. Marchiori, do you happen to have it in English?
I do. I have this book as well.
And I think this is something that when a child hears a parent reading, guess how much I love you, adivinha quanto eu te amo, it's just something, such a strong connection. And yeah, I would suggest beautiful books with compelling messages and good illustrations and moments of loving moments with books and your children at home, especially in pandemic moments.
And reading to children is never too much, is it?
It's never too much.
Great. Well, so that's it. Thank you very much for watching and see you in the following weeks. Bye-bye. Good evening.
Bye.